Have you ever thought about how to outlive your wife? 76% of the viewers on our channel are men, and most of them are over 55. And you might just naturally assume that you will probably die before your wife does. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. Today, I'm going to show you how you can tilt those odds in your favor. Now, maybe you don't want to outlive your wife, but I do. According to the CDC, the average 65-year-old female can expect to live to be 86 or 21 years more, whereas the average 65-year-old male can expect to live to only 83, so 18 years more. So there's a 3-year life expectancy difference right there to start with. But these life expectancies, they change the longer you live. So, for example, the average 67-year-old female can still expect to live to 86, but a 77-year-old male can expect to live to 87. 4 years longer than when he was 65, simply because he's made it that far already. If there's already an age difference between you and your spouse, as there is between Tanya and I, you've got an additional challenge, but it's not insurmountable. So, for example, there is a 10-year age difference between Tanya and me. So in a few months, I will be 77, she will be 67. And that means, based on her current life expectancy of 86, I need to live at least 10 years more than her expectancy number. So the bottom line is I need to live to be 96. Now that seems maybe impossible, but it really isn't. According to current life expectancy data, a 77-year-old male has a 20 to 30% chance of making it to 96, depending on overall health and lifestyle factors. So, if I do everything right, I could easily make it to 96. Tanya and I are both very fortunate in that we both enjoy excellent health. We don't have any children. We don't have any stress in our life. We're both retired. We don't have any debilitating health issues that keep us from living fulfilling lives. I have type 2 diabetes, but I've been able to successfully manage that for the last 11 years, and it remains, I'd like to say, in remission. You never really get rid of it, but I control it. So why is it important that as a husband you outlive your wife? Well, that's something you have to answer yourself. And I'm not going to go into why you might want to do that, because there might be some reasons that, that are kind of your own. And I'm okay, and that's fine. But my own answer to why I want to outlive Tanya might surprise you. We've been married for 32 years. And we both know that the loss of the other would be devastating. The ideal situation would be if we both went down together in some catastrophic accident of some kind. But we can't count on that. So the thing is, if I died first, I simply don't want Tanya to go through all the pain and challenges of my being gone. Now, of course she could survive and she could just do fine without me. I'm not so vain as to think that she would just completely fall apart and wither and shrivel up and die. No, I'm sure she would do just fine. But why would I want to put her through all that? I don't. That's just not fair. So the second reason is that I don't like the idea of her, after I'm gone, finding some other guy and then the two of them spending our money. It was our money. And I just don't want to, I don't want to have to deal with that. Okay, I'll be dead. In that case, I would be dead, so it wouldn't matter. But in thinking about it, I just don't want to deal with that. So instead, what I'm going to do is, with whatever time I have left, presumably to 96, I'm going to do everything I can to live longer than she does and spare her all the aggravation. Now, obviously, we have no control over so many things in our lives. Accidents that might happen to us, big issues, global warming, nuclear war, dementia, unforeseen illness. The list goes on and on and on. But there are a lot of things that are within our control, and that is specifically living a healthy life. And that's what I've got to do in order to make it to that number that I want to hit. So it's, what does living a healthy life mean to a 77-year-old like me? Well, it's really so simple. It's challenging, but the theory is so simple. There are 5, count them, 5 simple lifestyle rules to follow. Now, these are rules. They are not suggestions. There are no excuses for this. There are no appeals. There are no rationalizations. These are rules, and they must be followed very strictly. Okay, number 1, I'm sure you can tell what that first one is, and of course, it's diet. I mentioned earlier, I have type 2 diabetes. Having this disease, it is a challenge, and it affects a lot of lifestyle decisions. But in a way, it's also a blessing, because I think I'm in much better shape now physically than I was before I was diagnosed with it 11 years ago. It makes my dietary choices really pretty simple. Basically, what I need to do is keep my glucose level down. Or anybody who has diabetes, that's what it's all about. You got to keep the glucose down. Glucose goes up, you got big problems that happen. Not right away, but they'll happen. Actually, I consider myself so much more fortunate than people who don't have diabetes, who can then just kind of merrily go along eating whatever they want, and it seems to everything just seems to go fine, and they can function just quite well. But I know I simply can't do that if I want to avoid the terrible consequences of this disease. So I just know I have to control my glucose level. So the execution is challenging sometimes, but the principle is simple. Control the glucose. There you go. Number 2, exercise. Oh, never heard of that. What a novel concept. But it can be as simple as walking 6,000 or 10,000 steps a day. It can be, the whole point is just to move. You don't have to go into some big, health regimen, or a New Year's resolution, for example. I'm going to the gym all the time. I'm going to do this. Just keep moving. Maintain your upper body strength and your lower body strength. All these, stay flexible. All the things you can do to keep yourself from falling down and keep yourself going. That's it. It's pretty simple. Item number 3. Oh, this is my favorite: sleep. And we all know as we get older, we really enjoy our sleep a lot more. And I know that 8 to 9 hours sleep is what I need to get every night. 8 hours is okay. 9 hours is best. And if for some reason I don't get the 9 hours in, I always try and stick a nap in there somewhere to get up to that level. Now, when we travel a lot, and when you're traveling, there's all sorts of things that can interrupt your sleep patterns. You've got, time changes, you're on airplanes, this and that. But there's always something that you can do to try and mitigate that. Item number 4, and you've heard this over and over and over, and that's purpose, having a sense of purpose. Everything you ever read on successful aging talks about having a sense of purpose. Everything you read about people that don't do well in retirement, at least at first anyway, is because they lack a sense of purpose. Well, okay, we all know that, but how do you know what your sense of purpose is? Again, as you get older, it gets really simple. I know when I was a boy, I thought that my purpose was to become a politician. I thought my ideal job or role in life would be to be governor of Oregon, or a U.S. senator. That would be the ultimate. You only have to run every 6 years. If you're a congressman, you got to do it every 2 years. You're running all the time. I thought that would be the best. Well, today, I can't imagine being a politician. To me, at that point, I thought that would be a very satisfying lifestyle. No way. There's no way that would be satisfying to me if I look back at my previous self. It certainly wouldn't be satisfying at my present self, but I don't think in the past it would have been. And as you go through adulthood, you place so many expectations on yourself, living up to your full potential, whatever that is. And a lot of this stuff we start to internalize because we realize that people have this idea of what they think our full potential is. And some of these things are, frankly, mostly unattainable. And even if they were attainable, may not even give you the happiness that you think you should have from that. So what happens is, as you get older, and as an older purpose, what I have found is not only is my sense of purpose much easier to find, but also people have very low expectations of older people. They don't expect you to be doing anything really great. They just don't. It's like the invisible retired person. They just, oh, he's retired. They don't even care what you used to do. Maybe after you, at one point, soon after you retired, maybe, but nobody cares. Their expectations are very low. This can be very liberating and freeing. So I know that my main purpose in life is simply to outlive Tanya. So that's really simple. Now, okay, I have other purposes, of course. I always want to make sure that I'm maintaining my sense of curiosity. I love to read. I love to reflect. I love to keep an open mind. I am constantly trying to make sense of the world around me. And I like to interact with people and see if I can bring some kind of joy or at least a smile to them. That's my purpose. It's a very simple purpose. It's not earth-shaking. No one's going to ever write anything about, boy, old Jay, he really had a big purpose in life and he really went for it. No. And that's okay. So those are the things that give me purpose. Living longer than Tanya and maintaining curiosity and openness in my relationships with everybody. Okay, and the fifth and final tool to maintaining a healthy life is stress. The more that we can reduce our stress, the better things are. What I have found is that the biggest stress comes from things over which we have no control. The war in Ukraine, the state of the politics in the United States, school shootings, war in the Middle East. There are the list is almost endless of things that you can stress about and worry about. And in the vast majority of these things, you have absolutely no control over it. And so to stress and worry about it is pointless. Only worry about or have any kind of stress about the things that you can control and then alleviate that stress. So I can control how I interact with people on a daily basis. Do I smile? Do I relate to them in some way that somehow makes a connection that we both are understanding that we are humans here? We're not going through this big thought process, but anytime you interact with somebody, whether it's at the grocery store or at the UPS store or it's at the pharmacy or anytime you have interactions with other people, somehow you're making that connection. And if you are open with them and friendly with them and have a positive attitude toward them, somehow that makes, in a sometimes imperceptible way, even to them, it makes their life a little bit better, and that's so much better, and it reduces the stress. So those are the 5 ways to live a healthy life and to outlive your wife. And so if you want to do this, I encourage you to follow these steps, put those things into play. My the worst case scenario, my 101-year-old aunt, of course, who has passed away now, used to tell me about the fact that I didn't go to church very often. She says, well, it wouldn't hurt you, So I'm telling you that as well. All of these suggestions on healthy habits, it really wouldn't hurt you. You might just try it. There you go. If you want to outlive your spouse, outlive your wife, then I encourage you to do these things. If you don't, hey, that's okay too. Let me know what are your thoughts on this. I think it's really intriguing. Anyway, thank you very much for indulging me watching this, and we'll see you in the next video. Oh, and also here's some other videos that we've done in the past that are sort of along this same line. So watch those if you'd like to. Okay, see you next week. Bye bye.